Hello, my name is Jim. I'm here today with another Automotive One Take. No AI, no editing, just valuable information about the car business. The question on the docket today is, should you pay cash for a car? But before we begin, this video is sponsored by the car dealer Cure. We are a car buying concierge service. We cure car buyers of the car shopping disorder. Our experienced staff has worked in every role at car dealerships, from salesperson to general manager. We handle every aspect of the car buying experience for you, from locating your perfect vehicle to negotiating the best price on the car, on your trade-in, on the interest rate, on any warranty extras. And then we'll arrange for a remote signing for you so you can avoid the dealership pressure cooker. Most clients save far more time and money than our service costs. Tired of car dealerships? Allow us to cure you of your car buying ailments. TheCarDealerCure.com. Our information is in the description below. Contact us today for a free discovery call. So, should you pay cash for a car? The answer may seem obvious to many of us. For those of us who are averse to debt or to paying interest on loans, the answer would be a resounding yes. We should pay cash for our cars. Next question, please. And this video would be over in about 30 seconds. But as humans, we are complex and complicated creatures. Or maybe we just like complicating things. But the reality is, this decision, like so many decisions in our lives, has the potential to be optimized. We can get more juice out of the squeeze if we don't look at this question as a simple yes or no answer. Like so many questions in our lives, if you're a thoughtful person who enjoys thinking outside of the box, the answer to do we pay cash or finance is, well, it depends. The main question we need to be asking ourselves is, could we be doing better things with this cash that we have earmarked for our car purchase? Still acquire our car, but also improve our lives or financial situations for the better by thinking more carefully about this decision and how we might go about achieving our goals better. Now, when you're shopping for a car and in speaking with a salesperson or a dealer, modern wisdom dictates that you should not admit to anyone that you'll be paying cash for your car. It's amazing to me how many arrogant and self-assured people will still do this. There are a few reasons why cash is no longer king at car dealerships. The main one is that dealers earn more revenue, more profit, when you take a loan that they help to arrange for you. It also makes it easier for them to sell you additional back-end products like warranties and gap and prepaid maintenance when they arrange for your financing on your behalf. It's much more difficult for them to sell you additional products when you show up with cash or with a pre-approval check from your own bank. So when you tell a dealer, I have cash or I have a pre-approval, they're trained to smile and say, okay, no problem. But secretly, in the backs of their minds, they're rolling their eyes and thinking, oh, brother, these people are probably going to want us to give the car away to them as well. Back during dinosaur times, like prior to the year 2000, dealers loved cash. It was my dear old dad who taught me, when he first took me car shopping with him in the early 1990s, that you got a dealer to pull their pants down by waving around a big stack of cash. There were a few reasons for this. The quick explanation was that it was simply more convenient for dealers back then. And because of the modern changes in loan funding these days, it's no longer more convenient for dealers. It actually costs the dealer money for you to pay cash or come in with your pre-approval check. So in 2026, don't think you're in a position of strength by walking into a dealer and admitting to them that your plan is to pay cash for a car, because it will likely have the opposite effect. And your ability to get a discount off of the price of the car that you're trying to purchase will be more difficult. If you're put on the spot and asked if you'll be paying cash or financing, simply say that you don't know or you're not sure. You could do either, which isn't a lie, because if you have enough cash on hand to buy the car outright, you could in fact pay cash or finance. It doesn't matter what your credit situation is, but that's an explanation for another video. So There are several circumstances where you'll want to finance a car anyway when you're otherwise completely capable of writing a check for cash. Number one, if the manufacturer, not the dealer, but the builder of the car offers you discounts, usually in the form of rebates, for financing the car if you finance through the manufacturer's lender. So in the case of, let's say you're buying a brand new Ford, if you finance through Ford Motor Credit, they'll honor an additional cash rebate. Or in the case of buying a brand new Toyota, if you finance through Toyota Financial Services, sometimes you can earn an additional cash rebate. Because here, you can take a short-term loan on the car, pocket the manufacturer's cash rebate on the car because you financed it, and then hold that loan for the minimum amount of time you're required to hold on to it so that you're not penalized when you pay it off early, usually just a few months. And then you write a check to pay off the loan in that few months' time. You would have likely only paid just a minimum amount of interest, maybe just a couple of $100 for carrying that loan for the short term for a few months, and you pocketed that big cash rebate from the manufacturer. So you've essentially paid cash, you just floated a loan with minimal interest for 3 to 4 months. Also, keep in mind that when you're buying a used car, there are no manufacturer's incentives for buying used, but the dealer still earns a finder's fee on any loan that they source for you. So the discount a dealer is willing to give you on any used car that you're looking at would still be compromised if you're paying cash, because they still want to earn their kickback from the bank by getting that loan for you. As stated in a previous video, I don't have an issue with going with the dealer's financing option so long as the interest rate and terms that they're giving you are as good, if not better, than what you could otherwise get on your own. Make sure you do your homework so you're getting the best terms and lowest rate on any financing option you choose to go with. Okay, second, financing anything, is what keeps our credit histories well-oiled and up to date, which is what allows us to obtain credit in the future if we need it. I've run into many situations where I was working as a dealer with elderly customers, folks in their 70s, 80s, sometimes in their 90s. And when we ran their credit, we discovered that they were what the industry calls a credit ghost, someone with no credit history, not unlike a first-time buyer. How does that happen? The reason for this is because at their age, many people have long since paid off the house and other revolving debts. Their income has long since been enough to meet all of their needs, and they've just been saving their money because they haven't had anything compelling enough to spend it on. It only takes just a few short years of not utilizing credit for the positive credit history that you've taken a lifetime to build simply drop off of your report. And this could affect you getting a good rate on a loan if you needed to get a loan in a pinch. In the case of low income or fixed income retirees, it might even make the difference in them getting that car loan at all. So even if you're in a position to pay cash for your entire car purchase, consider putting a down payment, most of the purchase price, say 80% down or even 90% of the purchase price down, and financing a small, insignificant loan amount at what would be low to no interest expense to you. It'll keep those on-time payments reporting to your credit file on a monthly basis, and that'll certainly bode better for you if you need to borrow for something else in the future. Okay, third, the most common situation where a cash buyer might otherwise still consider financing is when deploying that cash elsewhere would earn them a better rate of return than the interest you'd otherwise be paying on that car loan. For example, if the loan you qualify for is, say, 5%, but you know that using that cash for your landscaping business is going to yield you a 10% return on investment, common sense tells us that it's smarter to carry the car loan at a lower rate and continue using your cash to grow your business at a 10% rate of return. The inverse scenario is if you're carrying debt that has an interest rate that's actually higher than the amount of money that you'd be paying on your car loan. For example, I may have $35,000 saved to make a cash purchase for my next car, but maybe I also have credit card debt of $35,000 at interest rates that range from 22 to 27%. And I know I can get a car loan at, say, a 9% interest rate. It makes fiscal sense to use that cash savings to pay off or significantly pay down that high interest credit card debt and to finance the car at that much lower rate. Same goes for personal loans or other high interest instruments. Pay the higher interest stuff down first. Overall, you'll be bailing the water out of your boat faster by doing that. Fourth, okay, a more uncommon reason, but people still do it, for paying cash rather than having a bank loan is because depending on where you live, insurance companies tend to have lower insurance requirements when you own your car outright. You can actually carry a cheaper policy. Having a bank loan requires full coverage auto insurance in most places, I think in every state. If you have a bank loan, you need to have full coverage. The lender requires it. I will caution you, however, that this avenue is generally a better option for folks who have very inexpensive cars. Think of like a junker car that barely runs, but you're still required to carry some form of minimum insurance on it. While technically you could pay cash for that $100,000 car and not have full coverage insurance on it, it's probably not the wisest thing to do, though, because that asset is so valuable. Some people might say, well, if I crash my own car, it's on me. And this may very well be possible, but it's not very smart thing to do. So if you're driving around in a $3,000 car, and by declining the full coverage insurance option, it saves you $700 a year on your insurance premium, well, you might decide that's a risk that's worth taking. But with a bank loan, if you crash what's essentially the bank's car, the bank is going to want to be made whole and still have that loan paid off. And keep in mind, this scenario has nothing to do with gap insurance. Gap covers something entirely different, and it's a subject for another video. Okay, a final drawback to paying cash is savings depletion. All the smart money people suggest a person should have at least 3 to 6 months of monthly living expenses saved in the event of an emergency. The biggest financial emergency most of us can experience would be the unexpected loss of a job or your source of income. If the $50,000 that you have earmarked for a car is the bulk of your savings, the smart move is not pushing all of your savings into something that depreciates, just so that you can say you're payment free and not paying any interest. Because if your income goes away, you need to be asking yourself, how do I replace that income until I can get back on my feet? And if your answer is borrow the money and pay interest, that's not the greatest backup plan. If your answer is, well, I just sell the car, fine, and you'd be taking a significant short-term depreciation loss over what you paid for the very limited use of that automobile. On a $50,000 car, that could be anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000. That's an expensive short-term rental. Just throwing the money away. That's not an optimal solution either. So buy your car, but have an emergency fund as well. And if having an emergency fund means for you finding a less expensive car, then suck it up and do it. It's the most responsible way to go financially. Okay, so what have we talked about today? Well, we don't want to leave a cash rebate or dealer discount money on the table because we're so focused on paying cash for our car. Harvest your discounts where you can get them. Don't let your credit history fall off the face of the earth because you have the resources to pay cash for everything. Financing something, financing anything, builds credit and it helps to repair credit. Most folks that I've met in my travels who once said that they'd never need a loan for anything again found a reason for taking a loan of some sort at some point. So keep your credit current and keep your credit strong. It's better to have good credit and not need it than to need it and not have it. Same with your cash savings. Better to have cash on hand and not need it than to need cash on hand and not have it. Don't pay cash if that money will get you a higher rate of return elsewhere, or if you're paying higher interest debt than your car loan interest rate is. Pay off the highest interest debt first and invest where your returns are the highest. Paying cash and not having a bank loan gives you the option to take lesser insurance coverage. Doesn't mean that you should. Just don't be so focused on saving money on your insurance bill that you end up shooting yourself in the foot and causing yourself a loss of tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars just because you want to save $400 on this year's insurance premium. And finally, don't deplete your savings so much that you're unable to meet your month-to-month obligations in the event of a sudden loss or stoppage of your regular income. We should all have at least 3 to 6 months of monthly living expenses on hand in the event of an emergency. And borrowing that money or selling your car in the event of an emergency is not a good backup plan. So remember, cash is king. When you can, hold on to it. There's financial strength to having cash on hand. Don't be so tunnel vision towards the notion that debt is bad and debt is evil that you end up causing yourself greater heartache when life happens and you get thrown a curve. That's it for now. If we're able to spare you the angst of the car buying experience, please let us know. We have the elixir for the car dealership disorder, and most of our clients save more on their car deals than what they pay us. We are located at thecardealercure.com. The link is in the description below. Thanks very much for watching.